Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus, guys, giving you full game Friday. Me rolling with my Buffalo Bills playbook. This is also New York Giants. Ironically, these teams two matched up. On defense, I'm going to be rolling with the different types of defense. I'm going to be using some match coverage on defense, and I'm using an OQ roll out of the dollar defense. This was a lab session defense. Actually playing against a guy that's ranked 4,300. Online. So this guy's actually better. He's got a little bit over 200 wins in the game, so he knows what he's doing. Right here actually hits me the seam. I get a nice little animation with my defensive back to go ahead and get him at a 4th and 14. He goes back at it again. Drops the ball. Perfect read. Throws it correctly. My seam defender actually pulled off and went to the running back route, and he actually drops it. So I couldn't believe I got a stop like that. I couldn't believe this guy went for it in a 4th and 14 situation. So I was still trying to set up my audibles. Usually I've got a lot more time to try to get my audibles set up. Right here, I saw the blocking. I know there was a hole off to the left, but I also thought the blocking was off the right. He gets a nice little block shot. I actually had that locked up. His user was actually under the route I was looking. I didn't go back to the whip route on the back side, and it kind of messed me up. Now I quickly audible. Here, I should have this play flipped. I actually have Patreons that I coach, and this play should have been flipped. I totally misread it. I tried to squeeze it in the seam, which was a bad decision. If I had that play flipped, the spacing would have been completely different based on my coverages, and I forced the ball in, and I basically threw away a 3-point opportunity, or at least to go up by possession. So that was just a bad decision. So he goes back into his tight set. I jump into man coverage. He throws into double coverage, almost triple coverage right there. Didn't have a really good idea where he was going to go with it. Now this guy basically jumps into a running formation. He's running an I-form formation. And this guy was, you don't win 200 games because you don't know what you're doing. He was basically running an offense where it was if you give it to me, I'm going to take it. And because I was experimenting with this Okie roll defense, which was a match defense, I was just seeing if I could stop the run out of this formation. Right here you can see gets a couple of slow-ass juke moves, but enough to go ahead and get my guys on their ass to go ahead and get a touchdown off of big run. So you're going to see Barkley running all over me. You can see right here there was actually Pancake City. Look out of the defensive back actually pancaking my one defensive back, and as a result he actually makes a move and he's got the ball into the end zone. So 35 seconds right now on defense. This guy was he was using pretty vanilla defenses, but what he would do defensively is that he would adjust into a different shell as I was making adjustments, and then he would back off his coverage and whatnot. So I was trying to force a particular scheme. I was using a scheme, so I wasn't really adjusting too much in what he was doing on defense, and just trying to identify what he was doing. Right here is a play that I'm starting to find out is actually a little bit better than I like. You've got a little crossing route right here, a post. You can get the ball down to the 7-yard line in this type of situation. And now I'm going to do a stretch play. I see that there's a defender that's in the backside slant, so I'm just going to run the ball off. I probably should have jumped into another running play right there, but I chose not to do that. And right here, he's got his guy off coverage. Am I able to hit the seam quickly? I put it in the right way. So that was the same situation of third down earlier, where I should have actually flipped that play, but because the clock was running out, I wasn't able to do that. So he's going to go ahead and milk and cook me right now with his offense. He's jumping into this I-form formation, and I was just seeing if I could stop the run with this Okie roll. I'm getting defenders in his area, but he's breaking tackles with Barkley. So now I decided to go ahead and jump into a man version of it, and I'm pulling my defender out. So looking at the gameplay, you say, okay, I should have done this or done that. I think in this type of situation, when this guy was really being run orientated, I should have been basically jumping into using that safety that's basically in a deep safety, pulling him down and basically giving up the run. So right here I jump into a cover 3 version of it. Look at the hole, just a monster hole right there, and he's just working the clock down with the running game. And this guy's really intelligent player in the sense that it was whatever I was giving him, he was taking. Even though he had 2 minutes left and he had to drive the entire distance of the field, he was working the clock very extensively. So right here, 2nd and 4 type of situation, get it down to a 3rd and 2. He's working the clock right here. I think I take a timeout. I wanted to go ahead and save some time. for myself, because the way this guy's playing, the way he's running the ball, he's going to basically do whatever he looks like he's going to chew the clock down and go into the second half up by a possession. So fourth and situation, he takes the points smartly, intelligent thing to do. You don't become a top 10,000, top 4,000 type player unless you make really good decisions. So I'm reading if they cover 2 in this type of situation. I'm going to motion out my one guy. Guy goes out to the flat. Everything's manned up because he quickly changed it to a different coverage, and as a result, I get rid of the ball. I'm not going to go ahead and give him any kind of cheap outs right here. So I was expecting man coverage. He actually goes in the zone. I don't have the corner. I'm probably going to drop it underneath, but I just got rid of the ball because the edge pressure came in. Right here, back into, I see cover 2 shell, and I think he actually adjusted right here, right before he snapped it, and I actually forced it over the top of the coverage. That could have been a very ugly type of situation. I burned a timeout. I got 1 timeout left, and my goal is just to get the ball into field goal range and take my 3 points. Right here, I've got a sideline pass. I'm going to try to get the ball out of bounds, and I thought him out. And the clock sticks, but look, it does right here. It starts ticking. I was looking at the plays underneath, not realizing the clock was sticking because it wasn't moving on the previous play. And as a result, I gave up 3 points. So I just didn't see it correctly. Like it stuck when it went out of bounds, and it wasn't moving. And then when I started picking plays, the clock stuck, and I looked away. So my goal right now is just to get the ball down to the end zone and get myself in a situation where I can go up by 4 points and hopefully play some defense. Deep comeback route, I come back to that. I think on the backside he actually was using some of that stuff away. I've got the whip route, check that down. So you can see his guys coming down and biting on the ball fairly effectively. So right here, he goes ahead and makes an adjustment in his defense. So what he was doing, he was coming out of defensive shell and jumping into something different. He wasn't really necessarily disguising his coverages, but he was doing a pretty good job. I was looking to the outside route, but he actually used that away, and he could have came up with a deep comeback route. So I actually looked for my deep post over the middle of the field. And this is a play that I'm probably going to relab. I was using a wheel route concept, a flat concept. I'm just going to probably run this thing stock just because I need something a little bit more effective down to run that play where I can get some yardages. So able to go ahead and do the switch concept, get into the end zone. And it's basically 10 to 14, and he's in a running formation, and I pretty much dumped basically the previous formation. I was running a match Okie roll. I was running this coverage against any kind of like his passing formations, and basically I'm going to jump into running formations with this. Corner route, actually, I've got to take the third wide receiver. That is my responsibility because those matching coverages are supposed to come down and play crossers and back up, but that third wide receiver is my responsibility, so I didn't do that correctly. So he goes into a running play. Look at the blocking right there. I didn't actually get it set up. It was just switching from different coverages. I've been labbing that Okie roll defense so much that my fingers weren't ready for this type of a run play. And this guy was hitting me with stretch plays and power O's and stuff like that. It was very, very hard to stop his run. And this guy's got 300 games underneath his belt. 400 games underneath his belt. He plays strictly with the Giants based on the way he ran his offense, which was limited to just a few different formations and basically just a few different plays. This guy is running these schemes and probably understands how blocking assignments work and all that stuff. So nice little stretch play once again. My defensive backs were just completely out of position. My defensive linemen were completely out of position. So now I jump into a 5-2-3, which I don't like to do like real heavy sets like this. Put soft squats on the outside and then user my middle safety over the middle. Everybody should be in run fits, and right here I'm able to go ahead and capture them. I get some good leverage on the one side, and I come into and fill in the gap on the other side. Second and 10 situation, outside leverage, inside leverage, able to go ahead and bottle them up to a 3rd and 8. And right here, in this type of situation, I'm going with a heavy blitz. And the one thing I didn't read is that defender on that side, this is labbing a brand new defense, is that defender on outside actually gets pulled out by a flat defender. So I have to put some type of a man defender that's going to fill up that seam or actually play that seam directly. So this is what's good about these kind of games, is if you're labbing new defenses, you have to test certain things. All right, so 17 to 14 type of situation, milk and cookie time for me. I'm going to basically go ahead and throw everything underneath. I want to get the ball down. If I get in a situation where I'm in the field goal range and I basically don't give him any time, I'll go ahead and take the 3 points and go into overtime. I just kind of get a feel of this guy that he doesn't have a very like dynamic offense. He just runs very simple plays, stuff that he really understands. So second and 10 situation, the seam was open on a verticals play, but he actually showed me that he's running a cover 3 cloud coverage. So because of that, I saw that he kept running in the same place. This guy, what he would basically do is he'd run the same defense on a regular basis and wait for you to beat it, and then once you beat it, he would go in and jump into something else. So I guess a very simplistic way to run defense. So right here, the wheel was open, but I actually have that switch concept on the back side that I know beats cover 3. And right here, I think I see he ran cover 3 cloud once again. So if he's showing the same alignment, where I've got basically outside guy Shakur on the right side, he's actually a little bit on the outside. I'm going to go and basically go ahead and jump into the cover 3 beater. So once again, same thing. Guys slightly shaded outside. Inside on the one side, I've got basically the switch concept I'm looking at. I'm showing the same thing. I'm going to go and motion my guy out, but I'm looking to he basically sat on that one post. But you can see with the switch concept, the one guy going up the sideline got wide open. So right now, I actually went out of bounds. I wanted to try to milk some clock, or at least get one of these guys' times out. Right here, go with a run play. Actually worked really well. I just quick snapped it and got out. He burns a timeout. So this guy understands clock management, and get the ball down to the 1. Luckily, don't fall in. He burns another timeout. So getting timeouts is important. These are things that if a person has to do a drive where they pick up 4 yards, it's huge. Now I want to show you. See, he's using this one guy. He's got a bunch of guys in fits, down linemen. He's got to defend the run. I decided to go and throw that flat because it's a yard out. I can pick up a yard with my tight end. He actually comes out, but because of the body positioning, I get myself in a pretty good situation. So I go into this this concept right here. He actually throws over the middle of the field. That was my user territory. I carried with the one guy, and I didn't come back. So he actually exposed that. Now I go into man coverage, and my defender came down and pushed him out of the way. That could have been a touchdown right there. So I got away with one. Back at it again with basically this cover 3 type shell. He takes a shot up top. Unfortunately for me, he doesn't get the ball out there. If he was a better quarterback, that could have been a touchdown. Now back to basically this cover 3 match concept. Right here, he throws into double coverage. The defensive back does not come down and play that. It actually catches it, but he's got to go ahead because he doesn't have any timeouts. Right now, he actually has to go and snap the ball. So I didn't like the previous defense's man coverage. Went ahead and switched that out. And then I decide in this type of situation, 2nd and 10 situation, I jump into a coverage I've been studying recently, cover 2 sink linebacker blitz. So this is a cover 2 match concept. It's what I'm building around this Okie roll cover 2 coverage because these guys drop into match coverages. And I'm thinking this is going to be a very effective. Look, I'm 20 yards out. He can't throw anything underneath. He's got to throw to the end zone. But the way this coverage works is they play seams, and then they do any kind of stuff underneath, such as mesh concepts. They'll pass that stuff off. But these guys play over the top of the coverage, not underneath it, and it doesn't really give any kind of corners that he actually can hit. So I went ahead and jumped back into this again. I'm using the blitzing linebacker, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this defensive guy out so he doesn't have a corner shot. He's going to have better leverage against a corner shot because obviously the deep halves don't actually play again. Once again, he throws into it. My defensive back's able to go and swat that ball down because he's got deep deflections. 4th and 10 situation, he's got to get the ball in the end zone. So back, he went to the bench a couple different times. It's like a money play that a lot of pro players use, and this basically shut that down. He didn't really know what to do with it. I'm going to back my guys off, and I'm just going to make sure, hey, man, if you want to throw underneath, fine. I've got all these defensive backs. They're going to basically go ahead and take you down, take you out. You can't catch the ball inbounds because the game's over with in this type of situation. He's probably thinking about where he wants to go with it. With this ball, and all I'm going to really do is just make sure he doesn't get anything over the top. So he does play action. I'm going to carry with the seam, make sure that's taken away. He actually throws over the middle. I've got a mid read in the middle of the field. I'm able to pick it off and get a victory against a fairly good opponent. So, guys, this is basically my Buffalo Bills New York Giants playbook. The teams matched up together. I'm also experimenting right now with some match defense out of the dollar defense. So as I find out the weaknesses and strengths of the defense, I'll get some more for you. So once again, thank you for your support. Until next time.